Hey guys, welcome to this week's music theory lesson. Today we're going to cover the triplet, and we're going to talk about when we use it in music and why we use it, what it looks like, and what it sounds like. So let's get started. Let's start out by asking ourselves the question, what is a triplet? Well, in music, a triplet is a set of 3 evenly spaced notes that are going to be grouped together to replace what would normally be 2 of the same valued note. And I know that might sound a little bit complicated, but let's remember back to my previous lessons. We had eighth notes, quarter notes, half notes, whole notes, etc. Well, a triplet, for instance, if we were going to have a quarter note triplet, so we would have 3 quarter note triplet notes, but it would fit into the space where 2 quarter notes fit before. Now I'm going to play you guys that rhythm so you can hear it in action. Now I want to play you the difference between that rhythm and regular quarter notes. See, all I did there was alternate between a measure of quarter note triplets and regular quarter notes. Now that we understand the general concept of triplets, let's talk about the most commonly used triplet, which is the 8th note triplet. Now the 8th note triplet is going to be fit into the space of 1 quarter note or 2 8th notes. So mathematically, we can fit 4 sets of 8th note triplets within 1 measure or 1 bar of 4/4 time. And if you make a whole bar of 8th note triplets, you're going to have 1 triplet that starts on every beat of the song. So it'll sound like this. Now another pretty commonly used type of triplet is the 16th note triplet. And with the 16th note triplet, your 3 notes are going to equal 1 8th note or 2 16th notes. So if you played a measure of just 16th note triplets, you could fit 8 sets within 1 bar or 1 measure of music. And that would sound like this. Now there's one more type of triplet that you can use in 4/4 time without getting really crazy and just super fast, and that's the half note triplet. And that's actually going to be the slowest triplet that we are going to use in 4/4 time. And this triplet isn't as commonly used as some of the other ones we've talked about because it's basically creating a polyrhythm against the 4/4 measure. But when you use the half note triplet, you'll have 3 half notes in the group, and it's going to fit within 1 bar of music. So you're going to only have 3 notes on the entire bar of music, and that's going to sound like this. See how that feels kind of off kilter or offbeat? Well, that's because it's a polyrhythm, so we're actually superimposing 3 against a 4 time signature. So how I do that in my mind is I think quarter note triplets, and I use those to subdivide to find out where my notes are. Well, let me show you what I'm talking about. So what I do to figure out the half note triplets is I use quarter note triplets to subdivide. In other words, I think in my head of what the quarter note triplets would sound like, but I'm only playing every other one of them in actuality. That trick actually works to subdivide almost any rhythm. You just have to use the right corresponding note to subdivide. So if you were wanting to subdivide a whole note, you use something smaller than a whole note. A quarter note would work great, or an eighth note. If you're wanting to subdivide a smaller note like a quarter note, you would probably want to use 16th notes. Now when you get into triplets, if you want to subdivide any triplet, you just have to use a smaller triplet. So a 16th note or an 18th note triplet would probably work best for this. Now this does get a little bit complicated when you're alternating between triplets and regular value notes, but it actually becomes easy once you get good at counting and subdividing, because it becomes like a second nature. You don't even have to think about it. Before we finish up today, I want to play you guys an exercise I came up with, and it's going to show you all the whole value notes, like whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, next to the triplet values, and you're going to see the difference between all of them. Whole note. Half note triplet. Half note. Quarter note triplet. Quarter note. Eighth note triplet. Sixteenth note. Sixteenth note triplet. Now one other thing I want you guys to understand about triplets is that sometimes they can be tied together. So basically in an eighth note triplet, you could have a quarter note followed by an eighth note with the 3 in the brackets over it, and that would be like, or you could have the reverse. You could have an eighth note followed by a quarter note, so it'd be like, but my main goal of today was just to show you the basics of triplets and show you how to subdivide them and break them down so that you can start reading music yourself and learning these rhythms and recognize them every time you see them. Alright, that's all I have for today, guys. If you found this lesson useful, please take a second to hit like and click subscribe down below the video now. Also, check out the link in the description. That's my website, slapitabass.com, where you can find more bass lessons and info about me. Jeff Nelson from the Lax Band signing off at slapitabass.com. Everybody stay safe and remember to slap at a bass.